Hello YouTube family, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome on my last video. Thank you so much for all of the outpouring of love and support. It is such a gift to have this space to share and connect with you all and co-create together, which I'm super excited for in the new year. And this is what this video is really about. I'll share a little bit about my story because I know in the last video I didn't go too much into detail of what I actually experienced because otherwise it would just be too many details. So I thought in this video I will focus on sharing my vision for what I feel most excited to create and to give a backstory to that and to create kind of like this dramatic contrast to the vision that I feel so guided and inspired and excited to create. It will be helpful to understand the background of where I come from in terms of like what I've experienced and where I'm at now. So, as some of you might know, because I have been sharing on Instagram throughout the time that I was gone from YouTube, I would share bits and pieces of my journey and my story on Instagram. And so what really I was referring to, without going too much into detail and kind of labeling things, but I understand that as humans, you know, we need to have labels, we need to have a way to understand each other through labels. So what my journey has been about was overcoming mental health issues. And there's many different layers to this conversation that I will be sharing as I continue to create content. But essentially what I experienced was depression, very severe depression and anxiety. And those experiences came about as a result of me going through my awakening journey. And at the time, I didn't have an understanding of what I was going through. I just knew that I was feeling absolutely awful. I didn't know what was going on, but I was just in this bubble of darkness, and it was really brain chemistry. And it was also this suppression of energy that was never understood and processed. So it was suppressed inside of my nervous system. And as I started to go through the awakening journey and begin to bring up from the unconscious to the conscious through awareness, through meditation and different practices, all of this stuff, all of the suppressed emotions that I have experienced but didn't have an understanding of and didn't have a way to express them in a healthy way, to process them, they were all stored inside of my psyche and inside of my body. Somatically, they were living inside of my nervous system. And I didn't know any of that. I know a lot about it now because obviously as I was going through it, I needed to understand. So it, it put me on this journey of researching and learning all about the human mind, the nervous system, all kinds of levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, you name it. I've dug deep into it and I've come with certain understanding and certain discoveries. And so as I went through, became a parent, the first pregnancy, the first journey into becoming a mother wasn't as challenging, but with my second pregnancy and the second delivery, I experienced postpartum depression, which I didn't know anything about. I didn't have the labels. I didn't know what I was experiencing. All I knew is that it was very hard for me to go from having one child to now learning how to share myself between these two beings and give them both of myself. Anyways, there was a lot of different things that again I didn't know were happening, but they were happening internally. And again, because I didn't know about it, I didn't ask for help. And that was one of the reasons I think it got as bad as it did, because one, I didn't understand it, two, I didn't ask for help. And those two things are absolutely crucial. If you are going through something like that, you need to reach out, you need to ask for help, because it doesn't have to get as bad as it did for me. I could have gone through it in a much more graceful, easy way, but that wasn't my path. And I understand now why, because as I experienced such deepest, darkest pits of despair, it allowed me, and there were, believe me guys, there was many times when I was on the bathroom floor, like ready to give up, screaming to the higher power, trying to understand why it had to get that dark. there was a part of me, while there was a smaller part of me, the human part of me that was going through the pain, you know, it wanted to be free from pain, because of course it's not fun to experience suffering and struggle and pain. There was also this higher understanding, and there was always this awareness that it is serving a purpose. Like for some reason my soul needed to have those experiences, needed to learn from them and grow from them, and it was data and information that my soul was collecting so that I could then go on, fulfill my mission for being here on earth. And now, of course, life always makes sense looking back. So now that I've gone through it and I'm on the other side, and I've come to a place of mostly inner peace and a deep level of understanding about who I am as a being and what I'm here to do and all of that, I know now that going through those experiences allowed me, I mean, I've always been a highly sensitive, deeply feeling soul, human, always feeling and sensitive, like just feeling everything at the deepest level. And going through those dark times with depression and anxiety and all that comes with that soup of chemicals in the brain and the body and all of that, allowed me to develop deeper levels of empathy and truly at the deepest level understand the human condition and understand the suffering that we can experience as humans. And so I know now why it had to happen that way, so I could really feel for others. And it's very different if you've never gone through it. I don't know how you could have a reference point for what that's like, because I've been through it. I know what it feels like in my mind and my body and the emotions. So anyways, that is what the backstory is. So I can tell you, by being guided, by taking the steps one step at a time, with all the tools and all the wisdom of the council, like I shared in the last video, and Abraham's teachings and so many others, Joe Dispenza's material, and just so many others, teachers and information out there, I've been able to bring myself into this place of more balance, reprogramming my mind and creating a completely different human personality. It's just the process, of course, is ongoing. But this is where I'm at now. And a couple years ago, I was doing a meditation. I think it was not a guided meditation. I think I was just sitting in a meditation, and I just experienced this profound vision that I didn't have any reference for. I just felt this absolute pure love, and I experienced myself, and just, I don't know, it just felt like the whole planet was there, like every single being was there, and we were all sharing this moment of absolute pure love and unity. And I can't put into words how profound that vision was. So I'll come back to that vision, but keep that vision in mind now that I share something else. When I was in LA and I was experiencing the beginning stages of like starting to remember all the traumas that I experienced. Now, sometimes the mind, to protect itself, if there's some deep trauma, it will block the memory, so to protect itself, like in self-defense. So that's what happened to me. For the first 18 years of my life, I couldn't pretty much remember most of those traumas until I started going through this process and, you know, unearthing, uncovering, bringing light to those dark parts of my psyche that I didn't even know were there. The memories started to come back, and, you know, it was really, really challenging. But when I was in LA, I got this download for basically this movement, this new way of being a human. And it was, the original one was LUCA living. And then it evolved now to Being LUCA. And you guys can see that I've changed the YouTube name to that. And I will explain what that means. Now, when I looked up the word LUCA, it means bringer of light. And it's just crazy when these downloads come, you know, they're not coming from your head, they're coming from a higher perspective, you know, your inner being, your higher self, whatever word resonates with you. And when that came, again, I didn't know what it meant. And the LUCA stood for certain words. Now, it doesn't matter what the old words were because I have evolved through that. I will share with you what the LUCA stands for me now. So we are experiencing an evolution of human consciousness right now. You can see it everywhere in the world. Anywhere you look, you see the old systems crumbling, and we are in the process of birthing a new human individually and of course collectively, because we're all sharing this collective consciousness. And there's billions of people right now waking up, remembering who they are, coming back to their source, doing all this healing work so that we can return back to innocence, we can return back to our natural way of being, which is pure love, joy, just this open-hearted, just like children, right? If you look at children, children know, they remember until we take them and we indoctrinate them and we condition them into fear and lack and separation and limitation and all these stories we put on them unconsciously, of course. Nobody does this consciously. But now there is this boom of consciousness happening. So when I was going through that experience in LA and this download came to me about being LUCA, a couple of years after, when I returned, I'll come back to what LUCA stands for in a second, but when I came back to Toronto, I was going through and cleaning out some of our stuff in the basement. I came across this painting that I did as a teenager that I have completely forgotten about. I used to study art in art school when I was younger, when I was in my teenage years. And I completely forgot that I had a collection of art pieces that thankfully my parents saved, and now we're just sitting in my basement, and I was going through it and I came across this painting that I will share with you, and I was floored because I was in the middle of all of that stuff coming up and remembering my purpose, my dharma for being here. And when I saw this painting, I just burst into tears because it's like my soul knew. So let me show you guys what this is. I'll hold it up like this so the light doesn't reflect. So can you see what this is? Let me just come a little bit closer. So, like this, so that the thing is not reflecting. So as you can see here, that's me. Obviously that's the planet. And my soul knew that I came here to bring light to dark places. I can't tell you how much that meant to me. I'll just hold it up a little like this. Like I said, it was like all of these pieces started to fall into place and this clarity started to come about. Sorry, I'm just gonna take a sip of my mint tea. And so it was making sense. Everything is falling into place and making sense. So the journey that I have been on is one of elevating my own consciousness, like I shared in the past part 1 video, is elevating my consciousness from all of the stuff that old programming, negative beliefs, judgments, all of that into the state of pure love. And I'm of course still in the process of going through that. So the being stands for everything that we want to see be different in the world. We first have to go through that journey internally, because the world outside is simply a reflection of each of our individual inner worlds. So if we want to see peace, harmony, joy, abundance, unity, any of these beautiful experiences that we want to have externally, we first need to go through the journey and embody them in our way of being. It's just a must. So that's what I've been going through, is coming back to this place of pure love for myself first, because we can't give anybody anything if we're not first able to give it to ourselves. And I had to go through an unbelievable amount of pain and suffering watching how my mind was such a judgmental, negative place. All of the stuff that was in the subconscious had to come to the light over and over and over. And it was so painful to see how I didn't love myself. There was so much self-loathing, so much judgment that was programmed into my mind. It was unbelievable amount of pain to have to watch and go through. But over time, through free will, through choosing over and over and over to come back to love, I've been slowly but surely changing my mind, creating a new neural pathways, creating a new brain essentially, and coming back to that state of love again for myself first. And that was so evident to me when I was getting so emotionally triggered being a parent. It was literally the most painful thing I've ever gone through, because instead of wanting to be loving, it was just all of this emotional disbalance and dysregulation, and I had to learn all these skills, and I'm still learning. However, the progress that has been made is absolutely unreal. I am a different person. I'm so grateful. And so the first letter of LUCA stands for love. We have to become and return to that state of pure love in our own self. We have to love and accept every single part of ourselves. The shadow places that we call shadows, right? Those places are just parts of ourselves, parts of our psyches that experienced pain and didn't feel seen and loved and understood and accepted. And so instead of judging those parts, which is what I was doing because I didn't have any other circuits, any other pathways for it, I had to learn how to do that. So we need to start to learn to love those parts. And when we do, it's so easy and natural to love another because it's what you are. So the first one is love. The U stands for unity, right? Everything that we see in the world today is kind of created in this understanding, in this false understanding of separation, right? Here's me, here's you. I am this race, you're that race. I live in this country. There's this imaginary border. I have this, you have that, right? It's all based in duality. And what this expansion of consciousness is that right now we're going through is remembering that at the core level, in the truth of what we are, even though physically we experience ourselves as separate, right? The truth of what's happening here is that everything is an extension of you. There is no separation, right? From the quantum physics perspective, if you want to research that, in the quantum field, there is no separation. It's all one, it's all energy. And we're just these individualized kind of points of consciousness experiencing itself through us, right? So the U stands for unity. It's this non-dual way of being, but it's been out of all the four being LUCA, the U has been the most challenging for me to actually not from an intellectual standpoint, but from an experiential one, to actually experience yourself as one with everything and everyone. And so that's what the U stands for. The C stands for consciousness. What is consciousness, right? Consciousness simply means that you are aware. It's another word for awareness, right? When we are not conscious, it's because we are acting from what we have unconsciously picked up. From 0 to 7, our brains are in this suggestible state and we're just recording every single thing that we go through. If you want to learn more about that, check out Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, a book and courses and lots of information on YouTube you can check out if you want to learn more about that. So we are just this recording machine. The subconscious mind just picks everything up, records these stories, and then for the rest of our life, unless we become conscious, it's playing out those tapes over and over and over and over and over and over until a moment comes that you realize that, hey, this is what's happening. And if your life is reflecting something that you don't like, you don't want, then it stops you in your tracks and you kind of go through this process of becoming aware, becoming conscious of the unconscious programming that you have picked up. And now that you have this awareness, of course you have free will. Either you can do nothing and keep going on that path. That's an option. There's no such thing as wrong or bad or good or bad or right or wrong. You can keep going that path if that works for you. But for most of us, you look at it and you're like, I don't want that. I want to live a better life. I want to experience my full potential. There's no limits to what we can create. So why should I play by these old, outdated, negative, limiting beliefs and programs? So you take back your power, and now through consciousness, you start to reprogram your mind. So that's what the C stands for, consciousness. And A stands for alignment. And what is alignment? Alignment just simply means that you're aligning your thoughts, which are electrical signals, to your feelings of your heart, which is electromagnetic. Our hearts are the magnet. So you're aligning the heart and the brain, or the mind and the heart center, right, love, to be in alignment with your inner being, which is this non-physical aspect of you, which exists as a multi-dimensional part of you, because we exist on so many levels, right, simultaneously. And so you're aligning your human self through your thoughts, your electrical signals and your heart coherence, brain and heart coherence into alignment with your inner being. So that's what Being LUCA stands for. If we want to see a different world reflected back to us externally, if we want to live in a world of love and peace and joy, we first have to go through that journey, and we have to embody love and unity and consciousness and alignment in ourselves. And then just by magic, like magic, the external world is gonna begin to reflect that reality back to us. So what my vision is, now that I've shared a bit of my story and the Being LUCA journey of becoming LUCA, which is a bringer of light, which ties into the painting that I did as a teenager. So now this vision, so that vision I shared with you earlier of just pure love, and all of us humans were there like white and just glowing lights. That vision has been evolving and slowly but surely becoming clear. So now what I'm most excited about creating in the world, I feel so passionate, so guided about this, so pumped, is this eco village is kind of a best way that I can describe it, but really it's this microcosm of the new earth, what I just spoke about, right? All human beings embodying love, living from this non-dual state of unity consciousness, in alignment with love, with our higher selves, living in peace and harmony and joy and abundance and freedom and just a celebration of life, completely in alignment with our highest potential, collaborating, creating, dancing, singing, just absolute heaven on earth. So I am being guided to create this place, co-create this place, because when I envision this place, it's not about just me. What would bring me the most joy is sharing this vision with other humans, with other souls that also have the same vision and mission of living in that space, living in that reality where we're all awakened, we are all free, we are living in heaven on earth. And so this, again, I'm calling it an eco village, but it's not really, it's just this, if you think of like a smaller city kind of, right? So what I see is this absolute sacred, magical, huge piece of land in nature, and all of this that I'm gonna describe that is in this eco village, this conscious community, is incorporated in nature, right? So the whole thing of living in peace and harmony and joy is not only internally but externally. We are in this deep connection with the earth like our ancestors used to live. They knew, they were connected to her. We are not separate from Mother Earth. We are earth, we are nature, she is in us, and I have this just deepest love and connection to earth I can't even describe. When I think of earth, when I just tune into her frequency, I want to start weeping. This just deepest level of love I've ever felt, I feel for the earth. And so we are living in harmony with her. And you know, there's of course a huge element of that is living off the land. So there's this regenerative, I can't say that word, regenerative farm with the most nutrient dense, the healthiest, most fertile soil, because you know, there's so many people out there that know how to create this most nutrient dense soil, fertile soil to have the most nutrient dense organic food for real. And that's what happens when you live in harmony and you work with nature instead of against her and fight her with all these. Anyways, we're not going to focus on anything we don't want, only on what we want to live and create and experience. So a huge part of that is, you know, these rows and rows and rows of food growing, this abundance of fruit trees and orchards and flowers, this pure magic, this high vibration of nature itself is just, when I think of that, when I bring myself to that reality that is real, it already exists, I'm just raising my vibration slowly so I can match that vision that already exists in vibrational form. So we're all living there, all of us who want to have that vision come to reality, we live there, that's where we live. And there's also a wellness and a retreat center that people from all over the world can come to experience all kinds of healing modalities and ceremonies and all of these things, to have the support system. You can come and rent the place for a bit, you can live there for a certain time, or you can just come for a weekend or, you know, week-long retreats and all of these things. And there's also also, one of the most exciting things that I feel so passionate about, that I did talk about on Instagram a couple of years ago, is a must. We have to create this, people, is a new earth school, right? Because these new children, these new souls that are coming onto the planet, we already know the old way of education system doesn't work because it was not created for the new earth. It was created for and with the foundation of the old structures that are no longer viable. So this new earth school, perhaps I'll make another video because I don't want this video to be another super long video, but yes, we'll leave that for the other, I think we'll leave that for the other video. But the New Earth School is an absolute must. It's a huge part of this society, this conscious community. And what else? Oh, of course, there's an animal sanctuary, because animals are so important, and they're just such a gift to humanity. So there's all kinds of animals, and the farm, and is this most beautiful place that I'm calling in to my reality. And it's I know it's not that it's coming, it's already here. I'm slowly matching it up. So that's my vision. And now what I feel guided to do is to create in the new year. I'm in this gestation period, you know, the seeds have been planted and now it's germinating. The seed is germinating and is about to sprout. But I am being called to create a community, this conscious community online first, right? Where I will share absolutely everything that I have learned of how to be this conscious, deliberate creator, how to elevate yourself out of fear, lack, limitation, suffering, judgments, into this new being LUCA, right? Feeling love, emanating love, being in unity consciousness, celebrating life, singing, dancing, creating, just this freedom of expression. So that is what I am most excited and overjoyed to be feeling like I'm ready to create. So if any of this resonates with you, if you also have this vision and a dream of living in this heaven on earth that I just described, then I will leave a landing page that you can go to and sign up with your email if you would like to be notified of when the whatever it is that I create is ready to be launched. If you want to be part of that, if you want to join the community, if this resonates with you, then go ahead and leave your email, and you will also get a little gift of a 5-minute beginner's guided meditation as a gift for signing up. If you want to, if you're not already subscribed, then of course subscribe to the channel and click that little bell icon to be notified of the new videos that I create. So with all that being said, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to be connecting with you, to be getting to know you. Oh, one thing I didn't share, in the conscious community that I will be launching, the whole thing is about how do we bring our visions. Now, if what I shared with you, my vision doesn't resonate with you, it's all good, because we are all perfect in our visions. My intention is to bring all of us into a state of high vibration and brain and heart coherence so that you can make your visions come true. It's not about me making my vision come true. If your vision and my vision are not aligned, that's fine. More than fine. I want to assist and support you in making your visions come true. That would bring me the most amount of joy, to see all of us human brothers and sisters living in peace and joy and harmony and love. That is what I'm here. As you can see, my soul knew that from when I was a child that I didn't even remember. So thank you so much for being here. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I love you. I am so grateful you're here. And we will reconnect in the next video. Bye!